Thank you, madam, for the introduction. Let me make a slight change in that. My name is Yogesh Murumkar, actually. So,
So what
not
I said Yogesh
Vikram,
Murmukar
yeah,
sir. No,
Vikram.
Vikram. Yes, sorry,
No
sorry.
problem. Okay. Yeah. So, thank you, madam. Thank you for the introduction. So, straightforward, without wasting any time. Let me start with the session because, see, as the topic itself is a project implementation with the help of machine learning, right? So I will try to keep everything as hands-on. That means I will try to execute it in front of you. As we have only 2 hours, so it's obvious that it's not possible for you people to execute all the things parallel with me. So I will just make sure that whatever I will be showing you in this session, so a detailed document of all those things I will be sharing with you. Right. So those people who are interested, they might go and implement projects which I will be showing here or applications I will be showing here. Plus, they will be able to implement similar kind of projects in the future also. So those documents will definitely help them. That is for sure. Right. So here, first of all, to start with, I will just try to give you an agenda. Whatever I'm going to discuss here in these 2 hours, I'm just trying to make the points clear that what I'm going to discuss here. Okay. So I hope everyone is able to see my screen, right? And see, I have actually unmuted everyone. So in between, if anyone is having any question, you can put your question in the comment box. So I will try to answer that. Okay. And anyway, at the end, maybe 10 minutes we can keep for questions and answer. So let me make the things clear that I'll be showing you each and everything here. So after the session, definitely you will try it out because that's going to save over time. So I hope everyone is able to see black screen, right? So let me first of all write down the agenda. Whatever I am going to discuss here, let me just clear that first and then we will move forward. So, talking about today's agenda, right? So, first I will try to introduce you about some terms. That is, what is machine learning, right? As the topic itself involves this particular term. I will try to talk about in a brief about what is data science, what is deep learning, and we will try to see what is artificial intelligence, right? So maybe many of you might be aware about all these terms already, right? But just it will take 5 to 10 minutes only just to get an introduction about all this. So I will start with all these things. After that, I will try to show you one application or project, you can say. So I will be talking about one application or project which is actually built with the help of machine learning, right? So with the help of some algorithm from machine learning. So I will try to execute that application. I will show you. I will explain you that particular application with the help of ML. Okay. And as I told you, documentation will be given to each and every participant, whatever the points I am going to discuss here. So don't worry about all those things, right? Because otherwise, many people generally they will ask me question that okay, can you share the document and all those things. So don't worry about those things. I'll be sharing you each and everything, whatever I discuss with the code, with the answers, and with everything. You just need to set up your machine and execute those things onto your machine, right? So once we discuss with that particular application, I will move forward and I will try to discuss an end-to-end project. So I will try to discuss end-to-end project, which is actually again built with the help of machine learning lifecycle. So here I will try to give you an idea about how we generally build projects with the help of machine learning lifecycle, starting from fetching the data from the source till the deployment of that particular module or application or project onto cloud. Right? So I will show you deployment of, maybe I will try out with this one. I will deploy this particular project onto cloud. So I hope everyone is having an idea about what's cloud. So that you people will also be able to use my application. So along with this, I will be showing you cloud deployment, how to deploy a project once it is done, how to deploy that particular project onto cloud. That I will be showing you. Okay, and so obviously it will require some time. So at the end, we will try to discuss about questions and answers, or maybe whatever queries you have, we will try to discuss that, and I will just try to clear it if you have any, right? So I will again repeat, I will be sharing step-by-step documentation for all these things, so don't worry about that, right? Another point, let me make clear here the tools which I am going to make use of. Okay, so first of all, as you have seen in the previous for the previous screen, right, many of you might have noticed that I will be using Anaconda's Jupyter. So I will be using Jupyter Notebook, right? Again, it is not the case that you should also use Jupyter. You can use anything, whatever the code I will be sharing, you can run that code on with the help of any tool. So don't worry about that. But here for this session, I am going to make use of Anaconda Jupyter. Plus, for the projects, I will be using one IDE, and that is nothing but PyCharm. Again, I am not saying that you should also use this one, right? But yeah, in my case, I am using this. So this is integrated development environment. So these two tools I will be using for this particular session for implementation of the projects. Okay. So let's start. Let's start with the first point itself: introduction to machine learning, data science, deep learning, and artificial intelligence. And let's see what's the difference between all these terms, right? So there might be different views if you go and if you try to read in different books, or if you listen to different people. Definitely there will be different views. I will talk about that. Okay. Let me first of all try to start with this one, and then we will directly jump upon these things. Okay, these two projects. So let me clear everything. Okay. The first point itself, right? So
Yogesh sir, sorry to disturb you. I can see only one screen, that is your browser, that is linear regression screen.
Okay, just let me share it once. Wait.
I think it's happened.
Yeah, man, that's fine. So statement of purpose, letter of recommendation, so CGPA, and whether the research is done or not. So you can see this research column is a categorical column. So that means it has categorical values. Yes, no, right, on, off, 0, 1. So you can see either 0 or 1. 1 means it is done, 0 means not done. And finally, what was the chance of the admission of that student to get the admission in foreign university for MS? So you can see how many records are available, how many observations are available. So near about here we have 500 records, 500 rows, 500 observations are available. So it's a very small data, right? In the next project, we will try to see a very bigger data as compared to this one. Okay. So I hope everyone has understood. One more point is, here you can see in this data, there are some blank values. See, you can check, right? These are called as missing values. Okay. So we are going to take care for all those things, because any arithmetic operation with NA or null is always going to result into null, and that is going to cause very bigger problem, right? So that's why we will try to avoid all these things. How? That I will show you in Jupyter Notebook. See, there are missing values. Now, one more point I want to tell you is, GRE score is generally, it is out of 340. Okay. Profile score is out of 120. University rating is out of 5. Statement of purpose is out of 5. Letter of recommendation out of 5. CGPA is out of 10. Research is a categorical column, right? Either yes or no. And chance of admission on the scale of 0 to 1, what is the chance? So 0.92 means 92% is the chance. If he or she scored these kind of marks, or if he or she enters this kind of inputs for all these features, right? So all these are the features, and this is going to be your target column, right? So I hope all of you have understood how our input data actually looks like. Now, based on this data, we want to build a model. Okay, we want to build a model which is going to help us to predict the chance of a student. So let me go to the Jupyter Notebook now. Let me close it. Okay. Yeah. Now, what is the first thing I will do? The first thing is, I need to import that particular CSV file or that data in Python, right? Because I am using Python here. So obviously I need to import that in some variable. So generally we import it as a data frame. I hope you already are aware about what is data frame. Now, here we are importing some packages. Import pandas SPD, right? Pandas is a package which we generally used for importing data from different sources, as well as pandas can be used for visualization. Then we are importing NumPy. NumPy is used for different statistics, right? We need NumPy for different statistics. These two are very basic packages and very important. Then standard scaler is one of the methods which is present in scikit-learn. So I am going to import scikit-learn also. From scikit-learn I am going to import. So in my case, scikit-learn is already installed. So pip install is the command to install each and every package in Python. So I have already done that, because otherwise if I would have shown you each and everything from the start itself, so it would have taken a lot of time. That's why I have already imported scikit-learn in my case. Okay, and I have already run this one. So here you can check it, scikit-learn.preprocessing import standard scaler. So standard scaler is just to standardize your data. That means to bring each and every feature to the same scale. So in our case, originally it is not the case. So if it is not the case, that means some column will be having more weightage and some other columns will be having some lower weightage. So we are going to standardize our data with the help of this particular method. And then whatever you are able to see here, from sklearn.linear_model, I am importing reach, lasso, reach cross validation, lasso cross validation, elastic net. All these are nothing but some methods which we make use of for controlling the variance of our model. So our model should not have a high variance. If some model has a high variance, that means that model might be overfitted. What do you mean by overfitted model? Overfitted model means that while training, suppose if it gives me 97% accuracy, but while testing in real time, if it gives me 78% accuracy, that kind of a model is called as overfitted model. So if you have high variance for your model, then your model can be overfitted model. Just to avoid that, just to check that, we make use of this particular thing. These things, whatever you are able to see, reach. So you could have made use of any one of these methods, reach or lasso or elastic net. These are the three methods which we generally make use of for controlling the variance. That's the only purpose. Okay. Now, and finally, I am using simple algorithm here, which is called as linear regression. Linear regression can be used for solving the problems with the help of supervised machine learning approach, which can be used for prediction. Okay, that is one thing. And here I am using some statistical models to know some more statistics about the data. And matplotlib is to plot the graphs, right? And seaborn again can be used to plot the graphs as well as to know some statistics about your data. So all those imports I have done here. After that, next point. And don't worry, I will execute each and everything, and I will be deploying this particular model onto cloud, and I will be sending you the link of the deployed model to everyone, so that you will also be able to run that particular project onto your machine. So we will do that in this stipulated time. Okay. So see, here I am doing what? I am trying to define one function. What is this doing? This function is actually defining this thing, adjusted underscore R square. So it is actually called as, so you might be knowing about some metrics which can be used, to know how your model has actually performed. Okay, so this is going to tell me how my model has actually performed. So the formula of that adjusted R square metric is this one. So I am just putting the values inside the formula. So many of you might have heard about something called as R square statistic. So what is R square statistic? R square statistics is actually, it is going to give you some accuracy. It is going to give you accuracy of your model. So suppose value of R square statistics is 0.92. That means your model accuracy is 92%. So this value you are going to get from R square statistics. But we will not only depend on R square statistics, because there is some disadvantage to R square statistics. Because if you go and if you add unwanted columns in your data, R square statistic value might increase. That doesn't mean that your model has actually performed well. So that's why we will use one more statistic that is called as adjusted R square statistic. So that disadvantage of R square statistic is actually removed in adjusted R square statistic. And that's why I am defining adjusted R square statistic function here. Because R square statistic you can directly calculate with the help of inbuilt function in Python. But for adjusted R square, we do not have any inbuilt function in Python, and that's why I am defining the function. So what is the formula? So you can see 1 minus R square. So this R square is actually this R square statistic, and this n is nothing but total number of records available in your model. Okay, so how many number of records are available in your model? Right? And this is nothing but the probability. So even if someone is not aware about all these things, don't worry. As I told you that everything is actually explained in the theory part, which is about this one, right? So maybe you can refer that one and then you can come to this one. Definitely you will understand, right? So here you just understand It is just a statistic which is going to help me to know how my model has actually performed on this data. Okay. Next one. Now we will come to the next step. So what this step is doing, PD pandas dot read underscore CSV. So admission underscore prediction dot CSV. This is the name of my file. I already shown you the data file, right? So see this one, right? Admission underscore prediction dot CSV. So this file is already in my current working directory. So I am just trying to import that as a data frame in this particular variable. And now you will be able to see this data. So everything is now imported in this data variable. And data.head actually gives you first 5 records. That's why 0 to 4. You are able to see only first 5 records from this particular file. Actually, we have 500 records. Okay. So data is having everything. Now, what is next? Data.describe. What is this data.describe? Data.describe is going to give you an overview about your data. Let me just try to tell you what is this. So it is giving me how many number of records are there in this column? 500. In this 485. In this 490, 485, 500, 500, 500, and 500. Right? And what is mean is nothing but average. This standard deviation. This minimum value from this column. From this column, this is minimum value. 25% is called as Q1, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3. What do you mean by quartile 1? It's 25 percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile, and the maximum value. Okay, so this is what this describe method is actually helping us to know. Now, what we can notice from this, we can notice that some of the columns are having less values than 500. That means there are missing values present in all these columns. And missing values, because of missing values, there might be a problem of overfitted model. And that's what we are going to deal with now. So what we do for that? So for that, we try to do something called as imputation. Imputation means what? See, what this command is doing. I hope indexing you might be knowing about in basic Python. So data of university rating, because university rating is one of the columns. University rating is one of the columns from the data in which I have NA values, missing values, null values. Right. So what I am doing is data of university in this particular feature or column, wherever there is NA value, replace that NA value with the mode of that column. What do you mean by mode? Mode is nothing but the most repeated value of that column. Similarly, I am doing it for TOEFL score. So TOEFL score, I am going to replace that particular value with the mean. That means wherever there is a NA value, missing value, in TOEFL score column, I am replacing that missing value with average of the complete column. And same thing I am doing it in GRE score, replacing the missing value with mean. Right? I hope you are aware about what is mode, what is mean. Mean is nothing but the average, mode is nothing but the most repeated value. And we generally replace missing values from some of the columns with mode if that particular column is a categorical column. So it depends whether it's a categorical column or a numerical column. So we need to use either mode or mean. Sometimes we use median also. Okay, median is the middle value. So this whole thing is called as imputation, handling missing values. Okay. That's what we have done. Now see, earlier we were getting count of GRE score as 485, count of TOEFL score as 490, and university rating as 485. Now after imputation, you will see that count of GRE score is now 500, TOEFL score 500, university rating 500. That means we have successfully dealt with all the missing values. Right? Right now we have dealt with that. Let's move forward and see. Okay, so you can check now data looks better. There are no missing values. Now what we will do is, from this data variable, I will drop serial number column, because see, serial number column is not going to contribute to the training part, right? There is nothing. This particular output column or the target column is not at all dependent on serial number. That's why we will just try to drop it. So from data variable, we have dropped serial number, and now if you look data.head, you will not be able to see serial number column like this. So earlier we were able to see that here, right? It was there, and now it is not. So we have just removed that serial number column or feature. After that, what? Let's visualize how your data is distributed. Always remember one thing. For almost all the machine learning algorithms in general, always remember two things. First thing is, all the machine learning algorithms require data in numerical format. That is one thing. Okay. Another thing is the distribution of your data on the basis of which you are going to train the model. That distribution should be normal distribution. That means your data should be normally distributed. What do you mean by that? That if it is a y-axis, if it is the x-axis, your data should have a distribution like this. It is called as bell-shaped curve. Okay. So what do you mean by normal distribution? It means symmetrical distribution. It should be divided like this and like this. Okay. So how one is going to come to know about distribution of your data? With the help of different charts, right? Different plots. So if your standard deviation is 1, or you can say if your mu is 0, then it's called as normal distribution. Standard deviation can be 1.2 also, but there is something called as standard normal distribution also. What is there is something called as this standard normal distribution. What is the standard normal distribution? So it is also a normal distribution. Only difference is that in this case the mu, that is mean, is 0 and standard deviation is 1, right? That's the only difference. So all the machine learning algorithms, they require data distributed in normal distribution. That is one. So always remember these two things. So that's why what we will do here is we are going to check how my data is distributed. So your data should not be distributed like this. It should not be having a distribution like this. It is called as skewed data. Because if your data is a skewed data and if you are trying to train the model, definitely you will get the model after training. But that model will be overfitted model. And just now I told you what do you mean by overfitted model. For training it will give you good results, but in real time it will give you bad results. So this is one of the main reasons for that. So just to avoid that, make sure that your data should be normally distributed. Not like this, which is called as skewed data, it is rightly skewed, and not like this one, which is left skewed data, right? So we do not want this one, we do not want this one, we want this one. Always remember. And that's what we are trying to take care with the help of this matplotlib package. Okay, again, basic Python package it is. So I'm just trying to plot this particular data here with the help of matplotlib. Now each and every column you can see the distribution looks like this. Profile score is distributed in this particular manner. You can see here. So this is how profile score is distributed. GRE score is distributed. Profile score, unit rating you can check. See, it is not normally distributed. There is some skewness here also. So we do not want those skewness. We will try to decrease that. We will try to minimize that. So for other columns also, if you see, it looks like this. So distribution, again, how I have plotted all these graphs with the help of matplotlib, which is a ready-made package available in Python, right? So you can see the distribution of LOR, rate of recommendation, CGPA. Research is like this because it's a categorical column, right? This is for not done research. This is for done research, and chance of admission is again our target column, right? So this is how our data is distributed. It seems that there is some skewness in the data, so one should go and one should try to remove that skewness. So that's what we will do next, right? So before that, what we will do, we will try to divide our data as output data and input data. So you might be knowing about this one, right? So generally we use X for input and Y for output. So what I told you, the GRE column, GRE score column, TOEFL score column, letter of recommendation column, SOP, CGPA, research done or not, all these are the input columns. So what I will do is, except chance of admission column, all the other columns I am going to assign to X variable. So what am I doing is, from the data I am dropping chance of admission column. That means except chance of admission, everything you assign to X variable. And data of chance of admission I am assigning it to Y. Why am I doing it like this? Because this is my target column, this is my output column, and all the others are input columns. So input columns are assigned to X and output column is assigned to Y. Now, after that, here you can see we are trying to plot the data with the help of another plot. For example, scatter plot kind of a thing we are trying to do here. So I am trying to plot scatter plot here, again to understand how my input data looks like and how output data actually looks like, right? So what is the dependency? What is the dependency of my input column, of my output column on all the input columns? So here, if you carefully see, what are we doing is, we are just trying to plot a scatter plot between each and every input column and the output column. So chance of admission is my target label. It's a label. It's an output column. So you can see, as the GRE score increases, chance of admission is actually also increasing. As the TOEFL score increases, chance of admission is also increasing, right? University rating is actually, again, you will see that these are the values from starting from 1 till 5. That's why you are able to see that. But again, you will see that this is also in linear fashion, right? So you can see that chance of admission is actually linearly dependent on GRE score, TOEFL score. Here also you can see for other columns, right? CGPA score also you can see, right? And you are able to see this kind of graph because we have some specific values for CGPA and for SOP, because 1 to 5 only, right? It's like a categorical column. And you are able to see this kind of a graph between chance of admission and research, again because this research is a categorical feature. So we have only two values, 0 and 1. That's all. Right? So this plot we plotted, all these plots we plotted because we wanted to understand how the output column, that is chance of admission, is actually dependent on all the input columns. Okay. Now, by looking at the data, we notice that our data is not on the same scale. What do you mean by that? That means, see, as I told you, we have different input features, right? So if I talk about the first feature, that is nothing but GRE score. So GRE score is out of 340. TOEFL score is out of 120, and statement of purpose is out of 5. Letter of recommendation is again out of 5. CGPA is on the scale of what it was, 1 to 10, right? It was on the scale of 1 to 10, right? 1 to 10. And research done or not, it is 0 or 1. Right? If you see, suppose some student has got 321 marks. In TOEFL score, someone has got 101 marks. So suppose SOP is 3, letter of recommendation is 3, CGPA is suppose, I think it is on the scale of 0 to 1. So CGPA score is suppose 0.8, for example. So you can see that all these values are not on the same scale. What will happen because of this kind of a data? It might happen that GRE score is very much important as compared to others. So it will be having higher weightage, right? So what we will do is we will just try to standardize them so that they will be on the same scale. So that it will not happen that some column is having more weightage as compared to other columns. Okay. So for that, what I will do is I am just trying to call this particular method, which is the inbuilt method in Python with the help of that scikit-learn package. So I am just trying to create an object of that scalar, and what I am doing is, see, x is what? Just now I told you, x is the input data. So all the input features are present in x, right? So what am I doing is, I am just trying to scale all the input features with the help of this scalar.fit method, right? Scalar.fit, which is a standard scale. So what it will do, it will just bring the data to the same scale. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by bringing the data to the same scale? Let me give a proper example. Suppose some student has scored 321 marks in GRE, right? Suppose 110 marks in TOEFL, 4 marks SOP, 3 marks in a letter of recommendation, right? Maybe research done, not done, and CGPA is suppose out of 1 to 10. If I say CGPA is 8. Now, standard scaling is, it means what? Let me give an example. Go and take the square root of everything. So is it going to change the data? No. Again, go and take the square root of everything till each and every value is on the same scale, or the difference between them is very less. So we can say that 0 point something, all these values, they are going to come to the same scale, right? So it will not happen that this will be having the higher weightage as compared to other columns. No. So as simple as that. So square root is one example actually I have given. It can be log, it can be anything. So internally, standard scalar is going to do that kind of a thing. Okay. Let's move forward. What is another thing? So there is something called as variance inflation factor. What is this variance inflation factor method is going to do? It is going to check that whether the independent columns are related with each other, whether there is multicollinearity present in the data. So within the input data, multicollinearity means what? Independent columns. Input feature should not be dependent on one another. Output feature, if it is dependent on input feature, that is okay. But input features themselves should not be dependent on each other. So just to check that, we use VIF. So how it is going to tell us whether input features are related to each other or not? So we need to use this kind of a method, variance inflation factor. Okay. So you can see here for each and every column, for GRE score, variance inflation factor is 4 point. So always remember the value of VIF should always be less than 5. If it is greater than 5, then there is a multicollinearity present in the data. But for this data, you can see there is no multicollinearity. That means independent features are not related with each other, right? So it should not be greater than 5. If it is greater than 5, then obviously we need to go and we need to further process our data, right? So just try to understand that. So I will move forward. There is no multicollinearity present in the data, and here I will try to separate the data into training and testing, like this, right? So I hope you know how to separate your data into training and testing. Once it is done, now we will try to call linear regression. I will create the object which is regression, which is named as regression, and this is the final training, regression dot fit. On the basis of what? Training and testing. So generally 70-30 we do. Here I think I have also done 70-30 only. So you can see here. Okay, I think 25% of data is a testing data I have chosen, and remaining 75 we have actually chosen as a training data. Okay. So once that is done, this particular step is the last step to train your model. And there is something called as Pickle. Pickle is going to help you to save your model. Okay. Pickle is one of the packages available in Python. It's going to help you to save your model, so that we will be able to use that Pickle file when actually working in the project. Okay. And see, once that model is done, we are loading that model. So what do you mean by that? That means I am passing the values. See, here there is nothing but what? It's a GRE score. 110 is token score. 5 is statement of purpose. This 5 is letter of recommendation. And one more column was there, right? CGPA. CGPA is suppose 10. Research done or not? 1. Right? So all the values I am passing as input. So chance of admission is 0.92. Right? So this is how we actually do at the back end. Right? So before going to some integrated development environment like PyCharm, right, and trying to develop the project, this is how we try to analyze the data and try to create a model and try to store that particular model with the help of Pickle. Right? So here I am doing everything manually. You can see that my model has given us the accuracy of 0.92%. Right? Now let me move and show you how we go and we use all these things in the project with the help of IDs. And say, remaining part you'll be able to see that I have just checked how my model has actually performed. What is the accuracy? So just refer back once you get all these things. So my model accuracy you can see here, it is showing the accuracy, 75% accuracy in this case. Right? So what I will do now is, other people also facing the same problem. Is my voice breaking? Please let me know. Or if it is clear now. Yeah, I think everyone is able to hear me clearly, right? All the participants, please let me know. Is there any audio problem? Because see, actually, I think everyone is able to hear, right? And see, one more problem is there's a power cut at my place, and I think I will use it, right? Only 8% is remaining. Let me see. I will continue, but I think if there is some problem, maybe I will discuss with Madam and we can continue. I will complete this particular part right now. Okay. So I think 3 to 4 participants are there. Who is what is it? Now is it clear? Can you tell me? Janvi Bose. Yes. Okay, there are few participants. I think that they saying some audio issue. Okay. Maybe see what has happened actually. I was connected to the boot network, but because of the power, now I am not able to connect to my broadband connection. So I am actually using hotspot. That might be the issue. Okay. If I am audible to everyone, madam, what we can do is we can wait for 5 minutes, and if you are saying that audio is not clear, so maybe we can wait for 5 to 10 minutes. Or let me know, am I audible? Because see, I want you people, I actually want everyone to understand all these things and try it on this, because the part, which is the main part actually is, I don't want anyone to do all these things. Madam, am I audible? Can you please unmute yourself and take it? Okay. Just a minute, guys. I will call Madam. Let me see what she says. Anyway, we will complete it. Don't worry. We will complete all these things. Just give me 5 minutes. All participants, give me 5 minutes. Wait for 5 minutes. Let me solve this. If it's not audible, then it's a failure, right?